Hey everybody, Twin Dad here, and welcome back to, I think this is the third part to this, which it honestly should have been done in one, but yeah, anyway. No, my luck, it's going to read like one or two pages, because I actually have not touched this since the last video, which has been far too long. What the? Okay. I think that's a good idea, I say. If we each have a role and we know what we're doing, there'll be less chance of panic. Oh yeah? The mage asks. That's probably what those guys from the first fight thought too. But when their leader died, all of their organization went down the drain. It's still better than fighting in complete chaos from the very beginning, Bruce says. And some of these people, I looked through my old videos a little tiny bit to get a gist of what's going on because it's been a little while. And who exactly is going to be our leader? The disheartened thug asked Bruce. You? Don't make me laugh. I'd rather get eaten by a manticore than have to listen to one of your orders. I never said that I would be your leader, Bruce says. We can vote on who gets to be the leader. Forget it, the mage says. I don't care who the leader is. I'm not leaving my survival in the hands of a person that I barely even know. It's not going to happen. While Bruce and the others were fighting, the 3rd Division's first round was getting ready to start. Release the tramplers, the announcer says. Several creatures that look like a crossbreed between a bull and a rhinoceros are now slowly entering the fighting area. Each trampler has 2 horns on its forehead, 1 horn on its snout, and go away, Java. And a tail that looks like it has spiked mace attached to the end. What the fuck? Go away. I've also read that their skin is so tough that they might. Okay, anything else downloading? Good Lord in heaven. I've also read that their skin is so tough that they may as well be wearing a full plate of armor. As their name suggests, tramplers will usually engage in battle by rushing towards their opponents and attempting to trample them to their deaths. Sure enough, the tramplers do not wait for long, and they start rushing towards the gladiators at full speed. If you want to live, stay behind me, Darren tells the other gladiators. Darren's teammates are looking terrified. It only takes them a few seconds of watching the beast get closer and closer for them to completely forget Darren's warning and start running for their lives. Darren lets out a deep sigh as he continues to stand his ground with his sword at the ready. As soon as one of the tramplers comes within reach of his blade, he steps to the side and he cuts off the beast's head in one single motion, causing the trampler's headless body to fall on the ground and to keep sliding forward on its belly a few more feet, until its momentum is finally gone. Gods be damned, I hear Bruce shout behind me. Why won't you listen to me? We're not going to stand a chance in the arena if we don't get our act together. You don't need to be so negative, Bruce, Wilhelm says, with a calm tone. I'm sure we'll handle ourselves one way or another. The important thing is that we had the discussion yesterday about the creature's weaknesses. As long as survival is the primary goal in all of our minds, we'll surely put that information to the best of uses. We shall see. Oops. The Tramplers have finished their first tour of the arena, and they are now coming back towards Darren for a second round. Some of the teammates have managed to evade the stampede, but 2 of them were not so lucky, and they got trampled to death before they could get out of harm's way. Darren waits patiently until the last moment yet again, and then he runs his blade through the side of the creature, slicing it in half. The crowds are going wild once more. Seeing that the first wave of beasts is already being dealt with, the announcer signals the beginning of the second wave. 3 giant cobras are now making the way towards Darren. While the tramplers decide to try chasing some of the easier prey, the cobras are both taller and wider than Darren, but their size is not the only dangerous thing about them. By the looks of the black spots on their neck, I'm almost certain that these are in fact acid-spitting cobras and not regular ones. Well, ain't that just swell? Acid that comes from the cobras is not as strong as the acid from mage spells, but it's definitely not something to be sneezed at. While it may not significantly damage weapons or armor, and that may have been sufficiently enhanced, the acid from a cobra can still burn through most regular metals in a matter of minutes, and it can burn through human flesh in a matter of seconds. Being now faced with ranged attackers, Darren decides that it is no longer safe to maintain his position, and he switches to the offensive. Advancing slowly, with his shield in front, Darren gradually closes the gap between himself and the cobras, until he gets near enough to be able to make a dash attack. The cobras have been spitting at him all this time, but judging from the impact it's had on Darren's shield, they may as well be been spraying water at him. Oh, okay, well, I added a couple words there. Woohoo! Darren makes a dash towards one of the cobras, and he slices its head off in one strike. Before the other two get to attack him, he bashes one with his shield while stabbing the other through its mouth with his sword, and then he makes sure that the third cobra is still dizzy, and he finishes it off as well, with one well-timed slash of his blade. While Darren is busy with the cobras, the other gladiators have somehow managed to bring down one of the tramplers by themselves. Seeing that the other tramplers are not planning to attack him anymore, Darren decides to go help the others kill off the remaining creatures. If none of you are going to listen to reason, then I'll fight on my own, Bruce shouts once again. This time louder than before. I don't plan on getting killed to save your sorry behinds. I very much doubt that anyone was counting on your help to begin with, Wilhelm says. Now could you please keep quiet? Our battle will begin shortly, and I would like to concentrate. Great. Our fight didn't even start yet, and our team is already falling apart. I should have known from the beginning that these people could not be trusted. There is a very loud burst of cheering coming from the outside. It appears that Darren and the other surviving gladiators have finally defeated all the creatures. Hi, phone. The announcer is signaling to them to leave the fighting area so that the show can proceed. Once Darren and the others leave the stage, the iron grating in front of us finally begins to get raised. We all make our way towards the center of the arena and all of the divisions before us. Like all of the other divisions before us. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the 4th division, the announcer says. The crowd watches us in complete silence as we make our way past all of the animal carcasses in order to reach our destination. It's clear that they do not recognize anyone from our division. They're probably already thinking that we're going to get butchered, like the 1st division from earlier. I hope we won't end up proving them right. We hear a lion's roar coming from behind the gates leading to the creature's den. 2 manticores walk out of the den, and they immediately soar to the sky, just like the ones that fought in the 1st division, coming from behind them. 3 desert marauders are now making the way into the fighting area as well, but those aren't the only beasts that are coming our way. 2 giant acid-spitting cobras are now also slithering their way out of the den. If my ears are not failing me, I think I can also hear the sounds of a few tramplers getting ready to charge at us. Good lord, everything's going at them. For this fight, we are going to try something a little different, the announcer says. The members of the 4th Division will have to fight not 2, not 3, but 4 different types of our strongest creatures, and they have to kill them all if they want to advance to the next round. This change in our schedule was a personal request from our esteemed arena owner, Mr. Vinard. Oh, of course he is. That bastard. Is this his way of telling me that in order to make it out of here alive, I'll need to outperform both Hadrick and Darren? Hadrick? I can't remember how I said it before, I'm sorry. You've got to be kidding me. Just to make sure that you all follow my orders and everything will be alright, Bruce says. I knew it, the ex-noble thug says. I knew you would start playing leader as soon as we get into this arena. I already told you, nobody is going to listen to you, so you can just take your orders and shove them up your arse. Is this really the time and place to be having this argument? Actually, I think Bruce would be just fine. I'll go with this one. Is this really the time and place to be having this argument? So, what do you propose to do, smartass? The thug says. Bow down to the almighty and powerful Bruce and accept his every command? No, I say. I'm proposing that you shut the hell up and pay more attention to the battlefield. The creatures are already moving to surround us. The cobras are now trying to get on our right side, while the marauders are coming from our left. 3 tramplers are now making the way into the fighting area, and they are pawing the ground with their hooves, getting ready to charge. The manticores are still circling the skies, biding their time. Charge at the creatures all by myself? Yeah, right. Charge at the creatures. I'm drinking water, by the way. Charge at the creatures and ask Layla to join me. Wait for the creatures to get further away from each other. Boy, oh boy, the decisions. Creatures. I want the middle one so bad. Oh, my. Charging at the creatures for me never really works. I can't remember what my points are in. Let's try it. Okay, I'm going in, I say. Leela, want to come with me? What? Leela writes. No, wait. I think we should see what the creatures do first. All right, I say. I'll go on ahead then. You can join me later if you change your mind. I start running towards the group of creatures and don't look back. The beasts are already somewhat separated from each other. So I chose to start with the marauders, since they seem to be the least dangerous of the bunch. I charge at the scorpion-like creature that is a bit further away from the other two, and I attempt to stab it in the face. I do not like where this is going. I'm gonna die. Oh wow, so I have speed check. Okay, good. Now my information is correct. When a giant scorpion-like creature gets attacked directly from the front, it does not consider itself overwhelmed by a large number of attackers. Its first reaction should be to attack me with its tail, instead of blocking me with its claws. This means that the way to its head will remain clear, as long as I'm fast enough to evade the tail. I move in range of the marauder's tail, and just as it strikes, I make a quick dash forward, stabbing the marauder in one of its eyes. As the scorpion-like creature retracts in pain, I take the opportunity to run my knife through the back of its head, finishing it off in one strike. I then take my knife out of the marauder's head and look towards the other two scorpion-like creatures, trying to decide which one I should attack next. Ba. No, wait, this isn't over yet. I look up and see that one of the manticores is now diving straight at me. I knew it. The manticore is waiting for me to kill something before attacking me. They are doing the same thing that in Hadrick's fight, and in the one before. I jump out of the manticore's way, and then I slash its wing with my knife in order to cut off the feathers that I need to fly properly. Ooh. The creature tries to flying away, but it no longer manages to gain altitude. Will you shut up? And it crashes to the ground. I give the beast no time to recover, and I jump at it with my dagger, slitting its throat in one move. Nice. I'm just gonna turn my phone on silent for a second. Hold on a minute. Ooh boy, yeah. Alright. Hold on. I'll just text my wife. 1 second. Okay, sorry. Okay. Perfect. Two creatures are already down, but what about Wilhelm? Is he trying to kill me yet? I turn around and see Wilhelm standing right behind me, holding his orange-hilted dagger with both hands, ready to strike. Ah, there he is. As I prepare to engage him, Wilhelm suddenly gets knocked out from behind, and he falls on the ground, unconscious. His attacker was apparently Layla, and she seems to have knocked him unconscious by smacking him in the back of the head with the hilt of her dagger. I change my mind, Layla writes. I'm here to help. Great, I say. Let's start by taking down the marauder over there then. Ooh boy. I suddenly notice that the cobras are getting closer to us, and the two tramplers are moving around, trying to find the best spot from where they can charge at us, without having to worry about any obstacles in their way. Actually, never mind, I say. Hold on, let me think about this for a second. Or a bit. Try to bait the cobras into spitting acid on the marauders. That's kind of cool. Ask Layla if she can deal with the tramplers while I deal with the cobras. Focus on killing Manticore first. Ooh, let's do this. Okay, I have a plan, I say. We'll need to work together. Layla nods. I want us to lure the cobras here, near the marauders, I say. We'll then face the cobras with our backs turned to the marauders, and when they spit their acid, we jump out of the way, causing the acid to hit the marauders instead. I'm not sure if it will kill them, but we should easily be able to finish them off after that. Sounds risky, Layla writes. If we don't time this right, we could end up either sprayed with acid or impaled by the marauders from behind. But if we time it right, we'll get rid of 3 monsters in one move, I say. What 3 monsters? Layla writes. There are only 2 marauders left. Yes, I say, but I'm pretty sure that the manticore up there in the sky will make a dive for you as soon as we kill the marauders. The manticore that went for me last time got killed, so I don't think this one will take the risk of attacking me. Just make sure that you're ready for it, and you should be able to kill it without much trouble. Alright, Layla writes, I'll be ready for it. Let's go. We make our way towards the cobras, and we start throwing rocks at them, and making loud noises, in order to annoy them. Once we're certain that we've got their undivided attention, we begin to go backwards towards the marauders, making sure that we're moving at just the right speed so the cobras can follow us, but not catch up. And when we reach the marauders, we turn our backs to them, and we stand in place for a few seconds, waiting for the cobras to attack. Those few seconds feel like almost an eternity, but when the cobras finally spit their acid at us, we both jump out of the way at the same time, and the spray of acid hits the marauders head on, and the beasts squirm in pain. We finish them off quickly, running our blades through their heads, and then, as anticipated, the last remaining manticore makes a bold dive towards Layla, thinking that she's distracted. Layla feigns ignorance until the very last moment, and then she makes a powerful slash at the creature's chest, exactly when it reaches her. The manticore drops to the ground. Layla finishes it off with one swift strike of her dagger, while the cobras are busy gathering more acid in their glands. The two of us distance ourselves from the snakes in order to decide our next course of action. Only the cobras and the tramplers are now left. The cobras seem to be getting ready for another round, while the tramplers appear to have found a good spot from where they can charge at us, and they are preparing to make a run for it. Oh no. Layla, I say, could you take care of those tramplers with your strength level? You should be able to break through their tough hides. I'll go deal with the cobras in the meantime. I'm on it, Layla writes. You remember their weakness, right? I ask her. I remember, Layla writes, and she rushes towards the tramplers. Eee! Don't die! Whew. I start making my way towards my targets as well, and as the cobras see me approaching, the two of them stop in their tracks and prepare to engage me. Remember their behavior. The cobras need to at least 2 seconds to take aim. As long as I make sure that I never stop moving sideways, they shouldn't be able to hit me. But that alone won't give me an opening. I need to be a little bit more inventive than that. I decide to bait the cobras by standing in one place for 2 seconds, and then jumping out of the way, thus making sure that both creatures miss their shots and waste their acid. While the two snakes are busy gathering up more acid in their glands, I take advantage of the situation, and I dash towards the one on the right, stabbing it in the head. I'm killing it with one strike. The other snake tries lunging at me in order to bite my head off, but I easily anticipate its attack from the way its body moved, and I step out of the way, delivering the finishing blow with my blade shortly afterwards. I take a look to see how Layla is doing, but it appears that she's already dealt with both the tramplers and she's now heading my way. This is it. It's over. The round is finally over. The crowds are going wild. They obviously weren't expecting us to make it. If I were Hadric, I'd probably be making some sort of speech right now, but to be perfectly honest, all I want at this point is to go back to my division area and get a little bit of rest before the next round begins. After a while, the announcer finally asks us to clear the fighting area, and we prepare to go back to our division room. Woo! Bruce goes to wake up Wilhelm, and when he reaches him, he begins slapping his face while shouting loudly at him. Wilhelm, Bruce says. Wilhelm, you no-good assassin. Get up, the first round is over. We need to clear the area. After a few more slaps to the face, Wilhelm opens his eyes, grabs Bruce's hand, and then grips it hard, while looking at him as if he'd wanted to murder him here and now. I'm awake, Wilhelm says, forcing a calm tone in his voice. Let's get out of here. It takes us about a minute, but we eventually get back to our division area, and once we re-enter our room, the iron gate closes itself behind us. I need to go get something from my backpack, Wilhelm tells us shortly, after we enter the room. I'll be right back. I hope you won't try to assassinate anywhere else on your way to the locker room, Wilbert, Bruce says. If you get knocked out again, I'm not coming to wake you up. Wilhelm gives Bruce a scornful look before he opens the door, but he leaves the room without saying another word. The announcer says all of a sudden, it appears that we need to take a small break in order to do a little inventory of our remaining creatures. Please remain patient. This shouldn't take long. Ha, Bruce says. They're already running out of creatures. I bet they weren't expecting so many of them to be taken out in the first few fights. Was that all? I hope they see more impressive collection of creatures. And Griffin just small shows. Ooh, yeah. Or maybe they're only done with the small fry and the show is just beginning. So, what are you expecting them to bring out next then? Bruce says. Hydras? Mammoths? Don't kid yourself. The announcer already told us that the monsters we fought this round are their strongest creatures. They're probably just going to end up using the creatures from the regular events for the other divisions. Oh, what's this? As we wait for the announcer to resume the event, I start hearing some voices coming from further down the hallway outside. Two people talking appear to be Wilhelm and the ambassador of Allendor. I paid you to get the job done, not to hear your excuses, the ambassador shouts. You didn't pay me anything, Wilhelm says. You just promised me that you'd get me out of this place, and that you'd make sure I don't get executed for killing a teammate. As long as I kept my end of the bargain, well, I'm here to tell you that the deal's off. I'm not going to do it anymore. It's too risky. I already tried to assassinate him once and failed. He'll be expecting it now. There's no point in trying to assassinate a target that's already onto you. If you can't backstab him anymore, then just attack him directly, you moron, the ambassador says. I don't care how you get the job done. I just want him dead. I'm not doing any job anymore, Wilhelm says. Stop bothering me. I've already said what I had to say. Soon after their conversation ends, the announcer picks up his voice magnifier back up and he's ready to make another announcement. God Lord, what is it now? Sorry for the delay, everyone, the announcer says after checking to see which creatures we have left. It is my sad duty to inform you that our special stocks of creatures have been depleted, and that we will have to go back to our regular stock from the fight onwards. Excuse me. I hope this will not affect your enjoyment of the show too much. Now, with all this said and done, I would like to introduce you the 5th Division. Back to the regular stock, huh? I guess those griffins and gargoyles we killed in the underground caverns 2 days ago must have been their last reserves. Then, it's a good thing that we decided to deal with them ahead of time, or that crazy arena owner might have well thrown those against us. When the next iron gate gets raised, Kate is the first one that steps out into the fighting area. As she proceeds to the middle of the air arena, the other members of her division also start to follow her in her footsteps. Once I get a good look at all of Kate's teammates, I get the sudden realization that Kate is likely the most capable fighter in her division, even without her magic. Most of the others look severely out of shape, and some of them don't even have weapons. These clearly aren't the types of gladiators that came here willingly. As the unarmed fighters go get their weapons of choice from the walls of the arena, the new creatures are slowly beginning to walk out of their den. The first ones come out of a pair of cave lions, which are basically larger versions of regular lions, but without the mane. Next we see a few black wolves join the stage, which look similar to the ones we fought in the ogre shaman's illusion, except they're only about twice the size of regular wolves. As these creatures begin to slowly advance towards the middle of the arena, a few more black wolves and cave lions are making their appearance from behind the big iron gate. So this is what they call their regular stock. It's definitely a step down from the creatures we've been shown so far, but something tells me that the organizers wouldn't have been permitted to release so many of them at the same time if this were one of the regular shows. If Kate had a decent team backing her up, then I wouldn't be worried. But as it stands, she might as well be forced to fight all these creatures alone. The first group of lions and wolves decides to take the initiative, and they begin to run together towards the gladiators. When Kate's teammates see the beasts charge towards them, some of them start screaming and running away as fast as they can, while others charge right back at the creatures in a desperate attempt to intimidate them. That is not going to end well. Kate is the only one who seems calm and collected as her instincts take over again. Just like in the ogre shaman's illusion, she begins to move between one creature and another, slitting one's throat and then switching to the next target without any wasted movements. As the other beasts see their first group get decimated, they decide that they should ignore the other gladiators for now and focus all their efforts on neutralizing Kate. They rush to the aid of their companions, and they quickly move to surround her. While she is busy fighting one of the wolves, seeing that her escape route has been blocked, Kate tries to make her own way out by going to attack one of the creatures in front of her. However, before she reaches her foe, one of the wolves behind her makes a dash for her and bites her left leg. Ew, snap. Kate sticks her knife through the wolf's head, but she lets her guard down, and one of the other wolves seizes the opportunity to pounce on her and pin her to the ground. She tries to stab the creature with her dagger, but the wolf uses its fangs to yank the weapon from her hand and throw it away, out of her reach. Kate, I hear the voice of Rose shouting from the audience as I see her jump to her seat, with a look of desperation in her eyes. What happened next left everyone in the crowd speechless, except for Araka, whose voice was now the only one that could be heard echoing through the entire arena. Damn it, she did it again, Araka says. I can't believe this. Just when things were starting to get fun, she had to go and ruin everything. Damn it all to hell. While Araka's words were probably made no sense for the people in the audience, a few of us who knew her understood the source of her frustration all too well. Almost immediately after Rose's shout, Kate suddenly disappeared from below the wolf, and she reappeared a few feet away, standing up, with the dagger back in her hand, and her attacker lying on the ground in a pool of its own blood. It didn't take me long to figure out that this was Rose's doing, who once again activated her powers by accident, freezing the time for everyone except for her and Kate. Nobody panic, the announcer says, all of a sudden, as he sees a scared reaction of the public. I assure you that we'll get to the bottom of this as soon as the fight ends. Some of the people seem to be fidgeting nervously, while others are whispering amongst themselves with fear in their eyes. Although it's difficult to hear what exactly they are talking about, There seems to be one word in particular that all those conversations have in common. It's the word banshee. Kate manages to make her way out of the wolf encirclement and she tries to retreat in the hopes that some of her teammates will finally grow a backbone and help her flank the enemy that is now focusing on her exclusively. Surprisingly, a few of the other gladiators get the hint and they approach the creatures from behind while they are distracted, managing to actually kill 4 of them before the wolves and lions are forced to change their tactics. Now that Kate's teammates have finally joined the battle, and the wolves and lions have scattered, it doesn't take the gladiators long until they hunt down their remaining enemies and finish them all off. So they think she's a banshee. This should be fun. The announcer says, looking a bit stressed out. Now that the fight is over, I believe it is time to address all of your concerns about what happened earlier. Rest assured that the gross violation of our rules that has occurred during this battle has not gone unnoticed. We do not yet know why our magical detectors didn't detect any spells being cast, but after we'll conduct a thorough investigation and solve this mystery. I am almost certain that the Banshee will be found guilty and sentenced to. There will be no need for an investigation. We hear the voice of the arena's owner, and he makes his way to the top of the elevated platform that the announcer is standing on. First of all, there's a small correction that I'd like to make to our announcer's previous speech. The woman you see before you is in fact not a banshee, but an actual mage. Regardless of how hard some of you may be finding it to believe, I apologize for not making this clear from the very beginning. But I did not want to create any unnecessary tension if there was a chance that it could have been avoided. The people in the crowd are not looking very convinced, and they are muttering between themselves, but none of them seem very keen on accusing the owner of lying. Secondly, the owner says, our rules clearly state that in order for magic spell to be considered illegal, it needs to set off our magical detectors. Obviously, this is more of a loophole than anything else, and I'm not planning to let this go completely unpunished. However, I believe that ordering her execution in this case would be a bit too much, given the nature of her transgression. I will therefore agree to only turn her into an undesirable, as long as she agrees to tell us how she managed to bypass our magical detection system. Very well, Kate says. The reason why your detectors were not set off because the spell used was a time freezing spell. I'm not an expert in those types of spells, but I'm assuming that since time got frozen in the entire world at the same time, the effect was too instantaneous for your devices to notice, and therefore they didn't get triggered correctly. I see, the announcer says. Yes, that would make sense. I suppose we'll need to work on that reaction time of our devices then, if we are to ever detect those types of spells again. Alright then. In that case, as promised, you are free to return to your division area. However, it should go without saying that the next time you try to abuse our system like this, the consequences will be much more severe. I understand, Kate says. Then prepare to clear the fighting area, the owner says. The next fight will begin shortly. As the owner turns to leave, Kate and the others also head towards their division area, while the warriors of the 6th Division are preparing to enter the battlefield. How many divisions is there? Good Lord in heaven. The next few battles weren't really anything special. A few gladiators died here and there, but most of them survived, and the number of creatures that were being thrown at them in each fight became gradually smaller, and the arena's stocks of regular creatures began to slowly deplete as well. As I keep watching the fights, I'm starting to get a feeling of relief because most, if not all, of the warriors that we've seen since Kate's battle are nowhere near as strong enough to deal with monsters such as the Manticore or Desert Marauder. This means that defeating them should be a piece of cake. Maybe this arena wasn't so scary after all. Oh boy. Don't get too relaxed, Leela writes, as she sees the expression on my face. Blech. While we watch the final battle of the round, we still have no idea how we're going to defeat the troll. And to be frank, I think there's going to be much more dangerous than the monsters we fought so far. Yes, but you are forgetting something, I tell Leela. We are the 4th Division. This means that the troll will have to go through Hadric and Darren before it reaches us. Regeneration or no, I honestly couldn't even imagine Hadric losing a duel against him. After the way he's fought in this first round, the way I see it, they might as well be crowning us victors in this area event right now, because there really isn't much of a point in dragging this any long. Attention, all gladiators, the announcer says in a very loud voice all of a sudden. While I was talking with Layla, it seems that the final battle had already ended, and the warriors are now returning to the division area. There has been a slight change in our fight schedule for the second round, the announcer continues. Unlike the first round, where the divisions have been fighting in the order of the division numbers, in the second round there will be one exception to the rule. By special request of our esteemed arena owner, Mr. Venard, the first division to fight Velgos in the second round will be none other than the division number 4. Ha ha, good lord, take that. Gladiators of the 4th division, please make sure that you are ready. The fight will begin in the next few minutes. Humans, we hear the voice of Velgos the troll, shouting from the other side of the arena. As soon as the announcer stops talking, your time is up. There is nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. All that awaits you is death. Blame your fate for having been unlucky enough to cross the path with Velgos the mercenary. The crowds are going wild again, just like they did after Hadric's first fight, and they're chanting the troll's name loudly over and over. Velgos, Velgos, Velgos. They all keep chanting as the troll waves to the crowd and makes an intimidating gestures towards us. Every once in a while. Huh, I tell Leela. Well, damn. Wow, I didn't expect that. See, that was half hour-ish. I mean, that wasn't too bad. I can't really remember how long the other videos were, so that probably would have been like a 2-hour-long chapter, maybe. I can't really remember, honestly. But yeah, I'm not gonna break that up again. That's just too much. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. I'm gonna try to finish. I honestly haven't even checked see how many books there is out right now. I might try to Google that later or something. And I can't even remember how many chapters were in this book. But that was a good chapter. I'm kind of curious of how they're gonna end their fight next time. Hopefully they win, and hopefully I pick the right choices. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.